Hi everyone. I hope that you liked my getting ready for the date look at the beginning of this. Candy over at Candy Soul and Soil came up with this beautiful tag about dating the tarot, right? Now I know that she has been doing tarot for this year, like for 2020. I've been doing tarot a lot longer than that. But even still, my collection isn't really that big. So therefore, I may be dating these decks. But some of them aren't like not my favorites. A lot of these will probably be on a favorites list of mine somewhere. But I really wanted to participate because I don't really get like my collection out and kind of play with them and see how the decks make me feel. I tend to go through cycles with my decks, like they're in a drawer over there on my tarot table, and I may get this deck out this time and that deck out that time, but never like the whole collection. Someone actually told me recently, that they didn't know what my collection actually looked like, because I tend to like talk about one deck at a time, I never really talk about multiple decks. Hardly ever. So I wanted to take this opportunity, Candy, to have a little date night with you guys. And I lit some candles so we could set the mood right. Even though I have my real light on so that y'all can actually see what's going on. But I wanted to set the mood. And just so you know, I'm a romantic at heart, so I may break out into like some songs. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Let's get right into it. The first deck is the cheapskate deck. This cheapskate deck? The cheapskate date. Like, that person that you date that you end up at the McDonald's and it's still a fabulous date. Okay. That would have to be my cheap Marseille. I talked about this before on my channel. It looks like this is the backs. And just, a very simple Marseille, It was $5. I found it. I was like wading through the bookstore one day. Ooh. I was wading through the bookstore one day and happened to look on the shelf, and this was sitting there with a $5 price tag on it. I thought, okay, you're coming home with me. So this could technically be like an impulse buy, but I didn't even have to look at the images. I always known that I wanted to try the system out, like try a Marseille system. And we'll get to more Marseilles later on down the line. Okay, but for what I wanted to do and what I wanted to feel starting out was very simple colors. This probably doesn't have a lot to do with colors. Like they just used primary colors in this particular edition. But I love it. Like, for the money that I paid, and I edged it in this beautiful like golden color, and it's just, I love working. I mean, I don't work with it as much as my system, like my other systems, but I do like to get it out and play with it and, see what I can see in the Marseille system. So that's my cheapskate deck. Cheapskate date. Jeez, I can't get that right. Cheapskate date. Go in this box. God, sometimes I really hate tuck boxes. Okay. The next one is, I got them written down over here on the side so that I'm like, ooh. Slow burner date. Weren't sure, but over time it'll turn to love. So a deck that I wasn't sure about upon purchasing, I was kind of like, but then as I work with it, it kind of tends to grow on me. That would definitely have to be my Greenwood Tarot. Now I downloaded this PDF off of Cheska Potter's website, and it comes out with like these bands on the top and bottom for you to put like the names of the cards on there, but I have a whole video up on this. I'll leave it in the cards for you if you want to check it out, but I ended up not liking that at all. So I picked the backings, which is a Cezanne painting, and I just trimmed it to this little bitty oracle size But when I first got it, I was like, oh, okay, you know, whatever. It's okay. It's just, you know, really, it's okay. But really, so like over time, like I don't get it out very often, okay? But when I do, I tend to fall a little bit more in love with it every time. Ugh. Some of the images didn't come out very well, like they were kind of grainy and stuff, so that kind of is upsetting. But some of them do. Some of them look good. It's hard to, like, when you don't know a particular deck, to not have the names on there. So I don't use this as it's intended. I don't use this as a tarot. Sometimes I can, you know, sling some cards out and I can figure out which card it is, like which cup it is or whatever. But sometimes I just like sling some cards to get like an oracle type of a feel from it. I'm gonna show you some more. I'm like looking at the deck, like I don't ever get it out that much. But it is beautiful. I love, this is my type of art style. Like, look at this. I think it's the Hierophant card. It may be, it's called the Guardian. He's so beautiful. I have a thing for skeletons. You didn't know. Ooh, see, I'm already wanting to shuffle it. Oh, that's so cool. Anyway, let's get on with this. So that's my slow burner. Is definitely my Greenwood. Blind date, a without thinking purchase. This was fun because I never do that. Okay, ever, hardly ever. Blind purchase something. I have to study and sit with the deck in like I'll just like stalk all images on Google or stalk walkthroughs of a deck for like 6 months before I get the courage to do the buy, you know, push the buy now button. So I never do anything impulsively when it comes to deck buying. But I was on Ellen Lorenzi Prince's website buying the Tarot of the Crone years ago. And on her website, you can't, like, she has options for you to buy multiple decks. And I don't think there's a discount, but for like $90 or some shit, you can get the Tarot of the Crone and her Minoan. And I looked at the images, and I've always had a thing for the Minoan culture. When I was younger, I saw this fresco in a history book or something that, I don't know, it felt very home-like to me. It felt like I was coming home, like I was seeing something familiar. And I never understood that until I got into kind of like this, you know, witchy stuff and the collective unconscious and things like that. I was kind of expansive on that. So while I was on the website getting Tarot of the Crone, I just was like, okay, I got the extra money, you know, whatever. So it was completely blind. I love this image. This is the Sea Priestess. So it's like the, I think it's the Princess of Cups. Maybe the Queen of Cups, but she's like in this boat going up to this to make an offering to the gods. Oh. And I love Ellen Lorenzi Prince's art. So anyway, this was a blind date, and I freaking love this deck. I don't use it as often. Now I bought several new decks in 2020. More so than I had previously. I feel like, for me to be someone that doesn't like actually buy a lot of tarot decks, I feel like I've gained some good people. Some good people, some good people too. Some good decks this year specifically, and so therefore, like, getting out decks to play with gets harder and harder as your collection gets more and more. But I trimmed this because it was so long. I'm a riffle shuffler, so I couldn't, it was too long for my hand. So I trimmed it and I edged it in all the colors of the deck, which is like blue, yellow, and red. And it looks so good. Oh my God. I was going to do it all red, but look at this death card. It's called the Ancestor. Oh, such a glare. I love this. It just looks like something you would find in an archaeological dig. It's just great. This is the Emperor's card. It's called the Goddess. Ugh. I love this deck. Okay, anyway. So that's my blind date. I just purchased it, getting on the website and having to buy like a 2-for-1. Not that it was. A Rebound deck. Rebound deck is number 4. Rebound. I keep saying deck. This is messing me up. Rebound date. Keep breaking up, but getting pulled back together. This was a tough one because I love all my digs. But Rebound reminded me of the tarot that I made for myself. I've always wanted a Renaissance art deck, but I didn't want someone else to choose the images for me, if that makes sense. Like the tarot of Delphi or whatever the hell. Or the resistance, what is that, art resistance shit. Anyway, I didn't want someone else to pick the images for me because I wanted to be able to generate the Renaissance painting that I loved for each card and make it make the most sense to me. So I made it. I've shared this on the channel. This is the backs. And I made this out of Renaissance paintings that I love. This is my beautiful world card. Ugh. These stunning. I love this deck. But look at that. This is my 2 of Swords. It's beautiful. And I did this with make plain cards, so I was like feeling fancy, you know, so I gilded it. Even though it did come off on my hands, which sucked. What I wanted to show. Oh, I chose the Lilith image for the devil card. So beautiful. Isn't this a perfect image for the 10 of Wands? God. 10 of Swords. So some of these images really, like, just were perfect for the deck. There's a lot more. This is called the Blind Sister, and I picked that for the 10 of Cups. I love it. One more, because I love this card. This is the 7 of Swords. You know, like the deception, running away with the swords you have, things like that. I love it. So anyway, I made this myself. And the prompt was, you keep breaking up with it, but getting pulled back together. It's not that I keep breaking up with it. It's just that, I guess I feel weird, sometimes playing with a deck that isn't really out there. Like, I feel like it's fake. I feel like it's a fraud. I hope that doesn't sound weird. Sometimes when I work with it, I get really good images, like mental images with it. I get good messages with it. But then other times I feel like it's just like a fraudulent deck. Like, it's not real. It's real to me, but since no one else experiences it with me, I kind of feel like, eh. So this is my Rebound. I still love it. I'll probably always love it, and it resonates the most with me, but there's a reason that I'll put it back and hide it in the drawer for a little while when I feel weird about it. Okay. Surprise love affair. There's beauty up above and things we never take notice of. You wake up and suddenly you're in love. Love Billy Ocean. Okay. The one that you thought was just okay, but was love at first sight. Okay. I love this. I wanted to get this because at the time I was looking for like a Thoth clone. There were so many fucking Rider-Waite clones out there that I was like, I need a Thoth clone and one that I can actually work with. So I found this like on a forum somewhere because there were hardly any walkthroughs of it. Oh. And, I'm so sorry. I'm hitting you on the first date. So I saw this on a forum as being a Thoth clone, but what it ended up being was a Thoth and Rider-Waite clone. So the creator kind of mixed the two. And I thought I was like, oh, they're mixing them. And I thought it was going to be okay. I thought it was going to be boring because it was a black and white deck. But then as soon as I got it, the cards were fucking huge. So I trimmed them once, and then I kind of put it up for a little while, and then I pulled it back out wanting to play with it again, and then I trimmed it again to be more of a tarot size. This is the backs. I love these cards. And the mixture of mixing the two, I loved. I ended up freaking loving it. So this was definitely a surprise. So you can see Rider-Waite Smith, and I'll show you, there's another Rider-Waite image. And then this is the King of Cups. I have to think of my Kabbalah. But anyway, look at this Lover's card. Don't you just love his butt? Oh, I love it. Let me show you a Thothi. Oh, this is the Queen of Pentacles. And we know that when I was embodying her, this Queen of Pentacles, in my dress up as the Thoth cards on my Instagram, you can find it in my highlights, where I dress up as the cards. The Queen of Pentacles has these huge horns and this vegetation around her, right? Oh, that's the bags. And this big mountain goat, sitting beside her. I just love it. Look at those horns. Oh. So here's the Two of Swords. That's very Rider-Waite Smith. But then I look at other cards, and they seem to me a mixture of the two. This is the Hierophant from Thoth. This Hierophant sitting on the bull of Taurus. And the elephants of Taurus. I love the humanoid figures in this. This is the full card. It's got the alligator and the monkey, just like in the Thoth. It's got the butterfly, which I love a butterfly in the full card. But I love that these are humans, but they're kind of cartoony. So they could be anyone. That's what I love about it, is that I could see whoever's in here. So anyway, look at this Strength card. So this is definitely my surprise love affair, because I really thought that this was going to be just kind of boring. This was going to be kind of kitschy, they really didn't know what they were doing. But I love it, and that's called the Light and Shadow Tarot. I'm running out of room. Okay. Not my type. The one that wasn't you, but you still haven't broken up with yet. Okay, well, I bought this deck a couple months ago, after the first summit from that Queen Osset, Cassia, Tom Benjamin, and Renee orchestrated. After the first summit, I really went on a dive to try to buy some decks from Black creators. And I found this on Instagram. And the images were beautiful, and it was Thoth based. It's ooh, give me that. But when I got it, it was collage-y, right? And some cards were horizontal instead of vertical, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But the images aren't me. I'm not really a collage-y, a lover of collage. Now, I like to do collage, but in terms of decks, I'm not really a collage lover. This is actually the only deck I have that's a collage. I tend to line drawings. So, as you can see from my other decks that I showed. But this deck is called the Shrine of the Black Medusa. And it's by a Black creator. And I saw it on Instagram. And as Medusa is like a high love of mine, I thought, I think I have to have this. But it's not me. It's not really my style, my go-to style for a deck. But I won't break up with it because it does good things in readings for me. I've been using it in the Kwanzaa tarot spreads that Queen Osset and Veronica Rose came up with for Kwanzaa. And I've been getting some really good messages with it. But anyway, let me show you some cards. So as you can see, it's kind of collage-y. Look at this Prince of, is this the Prince? No, this is the Knight of Discs. I love that dog. Sacred Doberman there. And some of them don't have figures in them. But look at this Ace of Swords. Love this. This is Thoth based, which, of course, I loved. Look at this. This is a Princess of Cups. Beautiful. Look at that dress. Oh. This is the Universe card. Look at that. Sacred colors, the swirls. Oh. I wonder, there was some cards in here I wanted to show you. I pulled this card. I'm going to show you in a minute. This is the Lust card. Look at this. Wow, right? Wow. A star. Queen of Wands. I love this. This looks exactly like, this reminds me so much of the Thoth Queen of Wands. Look at that. Oh. So this, I think this person did collage work. Like it was maybe a cut and paste and digitalized things with the art. See, like this is the High Priestess and it's vertical. I mean horizontal. What am I talking about? But look at that church window behind this figure with this giant hat and the furs on and the water behind all of that. It's just beautiful. Beautiful. And then some of them are kind of pippish. Like this is the Four of Wands. I'm sorry. But when I think about the Four of Wands in the Thoth deck, there's a circle, right? And then him and Frida Harris put the wands like this, right? In a wheel-like pattern. So of course this looks perfect, right? It's like they cut up magazines, and that's right up my alley. You know, I love to actually do those things. But in terms of a tarot deck, you know, it's not really my style, but I love it just the same. It's a really good deck. All right, next. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to show you the card that I wanted to show you. This is the Princess of Swords. Look at this. The laughter on this figure's face, but she's a giantess. Like this sacred push, right? Like almost like they're playing leapfrog and jumping over this mountain and the hurdles, right? And how this sword right here is on her shoulder. I love that. There's just a lot to unpack in that image, and I just love it. I've gotten that a couple of times in my readings. Okay. I may have to delete your number. I know it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain. Girl, I'm leaving you tomorrow. I told y'all I was gonna break out in a damn song. Okay. I may have to delete this damn deck's number, okay? Because I really, really wanted to love it. I really, really wanted to love it. But I hate it. And it hates me. Like, it's almost like when I get messages from it, it's like, okay, we have each other's number, but can we please not talk to each other for a while? Like, just forget. Oh, Just to forget that you know me. Forget that you know what I'm going to say at the dinner table. Like, this will be our last date for a while. Like that type of attitude. And it's my golden tarot. The Visconti-Sforza. And it's this edition. This humongous edition. You know? This is trimmed. Okay, this is trimmed. And I had always wanted a Visconti-Sforza. And just, I guess, for like the historical aesthetic, whatever. But I trimmed it. I got it. Couldn't shuffle it. Didn't even know how I would shuffle it. Then I thought, well, maybe this isn't meant to be used. Maybe this is just meant to be like a historic deck and just something you don't really use per se. So then I kind of put it up for a while, and then I really, really wanted to use it. So I got it out and I trimmed it, and then the trim sucked. The trim sucked. Like, not that I did a bad job per se, but it cut off a wand here, a sword there, and I was like not happy with it. And sometimes like this looks pretty good, right? For the 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Discs. But then like you get a court, you know? I think this is the Empress card. No, this is the Chariot card. I don't know what card this is. I don't know. It doesn't call to me, you know? I don't know. Like, some of the images are pretty because, you know, they're based off the Visconti-Sforza, or it's based off the family. But we literally do not get along. Look at the tower. Yeah, that's a pretty good tower. I don't know. I didn't like the people. I didn't like the people. I didn't like, I mean, it's set up like a Marseille. Okay, it's set up hippie, but, which I know a little bit about. Like, I can read with it, whatever, but I don't know. Something about these images just don't call to me. I don't get good messages with this. I tend to get messages that just make me believe that we hate each other. But there's, I don't know, I guess that there's something, something in the way she moves. Anyway, there's something about having it that is preventing me from getting rid of it. Maybe it's just because I'd always wanted one and something's stopping me from like giving it to someone, because I will shove this in somebody's face. Like, take it. But I guess I haven't gotten rid of it because I don't want to regret giving it away if I ever do. If that makes sense. Okay. Turn the page. True love. Marriage. Okay. Your forever love. Are any of you going to be surprised by what I say? I know that Candy was being cheeky. She was like, I know this might be on your favorites list, but I'm curious anyway. I thought nobody's going to be surprised by this. This is my forever love. This is literally my life partner in a deck. Okay? The writer is my mom deck. I've said that before. I learned and grew with it, right? But I had to be a rebel. I had to fall in love with the goth boy, as Joey Morris would say. And I fucking did. So this is my forever love. But I have a honorable mention. Not really an honorable mention, but a true love deck of mine that is not Thoth, because no one is surprised by this, is my Tarot of the Crone. No one's surprised by that either. But both of these decks are my forever loves. Like, the Thoth is my life partner. It knows me. I have a special bond with it. And I don't think that will ever change. No matter how many fights we get into or whatever, I'll always love it. There's a bond, a tether We're tethered to each other, if that makes sense. And I feel a lot of the same with the Tarot of the Crone. As soon as I saw the images of this years and years and years ago, I started crying. And I knew that I was getting pulled to something. I have a thing for eyeballs. I love drawing them. I love looking at them. Look at this devil card. Ugh. I mentioned this in a video about eating your own skin, and sometimes it does take you shedding your own skin to get to the rawness that's underneath the skin, to grow thicker skin. Like you shed your own skin, then maybe the next skin that you get will be a little thicker. This is a devil card. Something about this deck. As soon as I got it, it was literally true love at first sight, and it hasn't disappointed me. Look at that. That is my Four of Wands. Look at that. That sacred ritual that's happening here. Sacred fire. Oh my God. Look at this tower. Every time I see the tower now, I think of Queen Aspet. Burn it to the ground. Anyway, look at that. Yes. So anyway, I'm trying to get to maybe an image that like really spoke to me. Oh, well, it's definitely have to be the Fool, because I so believe in the Fool, it being about the spark, it being about that foot that the Fool tends to have over the cliff is the spark that is making the Fool want to do it. It's that spark of inspiration, of creativity, of all the suits wrapped into one, and it lives in the soul of the Fool. That sacred want. And I see that within this Fool's cloak. Beautiful. Oh, I always get choked up when I read with this deck. Another eyeball. I love it. This is that Ace of Swords. I did a reading recently that I made a video about, and it was a very vulnerable video. To share a little bit about how I use the deck, how I had used the deck in the past, and how vulnerable I feel using the deck. So watch out for that. That may come out before this. I don't know. I don't know when I'll do this. So anyway, the Thoth and the Tarot of the Crone are going to be my forever true loves, if that makes any sense. All right. Stormy on and off date. Passion, lust, fighting. All right. My Stormy on and off date is definitely my Motherpeace. Just is. I love this deck. I developed my self-love and body image love practice off this deck, right? And I love it. I love the images. I speak about this deck as well in another video, a couple more videos, and one to come out in the near future. So be on the lookout for that. But there's something about this deck that always called me. I could see my family in this deck. I could see my neighbors, my actual neighbors in this deck. I could see my friends. I see all of you. I see them in this deck. But I fought with this deck so much. I fought with it. I pushed back on it. You know, I've had 3 a.m. fights with my demons with this deck. Literally. No bra on. No pants on. Just sitting there with your underwear, a t-shirt, no bra. 3 a.m., you're fighting, you're throwing dishes around, right? That type of fighting. But then by 5 a.m., you're back there having sex. Ask me how I know. So I fought with this deck. There's so much, I can gain so much passion with this deck, so much self-love with this deck. it loves me. It loves my body, right? It loves my soul. It loves what I've been able to build with it. But I've had so many fights with it and so many fight-driven nights with it. 3 a.m. talks with the demon. And that's all I'm going to say. So that's my Stormy on and off deck. Again, I keep saying that. Date. We're dating our decks. Last one. Friends with benefits. No commitment. It's not love, but you still like it profusely. That's what I wrote down. I do love this deck, but I'm not in love with it. Because there's a difference. Love is work, right? Love is a fucking job. And I don't put the work in with this deck. Not really. It comes with a big ass guidebook, like a book from Rachel Pollack. It's still just a like, you know? It's just a friend. Still a friend. She comes over. We share a tub of ice cream. There may be some flirting involved, but it's not really going to lead to love, you know? I will always like her profusely. As sad as that is, right? It's my shining tribe. I love this deck, right? I want to love it. I really want to love it. I think that if I put the work in, and she put the work in, that we could love each other. But really, we'll probably just veg out on the couch, eating ice cream, you know? It may be some fun times, but it's mostly just Netflix and chilling with each other. There's no love. There's no real emotion here. But I have worked with this deck. I've loved it. I love the images. I mean, the fact that Rachel Pollack drew these herself is beautiful. I don't know if you are. Look at that. I love this image of this bird figure laying on this mountain, looking at the rest of the birds. Almost in stagnation, like wanting to know why she's not flying. Look at this Justice card. Another eyeball. Of course I love that. I liked how Rachel Pollack changed the suits up from trees, rivers, stones. I like that. There's a couple of cards in here that actually speak to me on a soul level. But again, my best friend could talk to me on a soul level. Doesn't necessarily mean that I love it, you know? That it's like I'm in love with it. Look at that full card. All those sacred paths. You just fly out and go find it, right? What is the objective here? Just find a path that's yours. Let the wind guide you. So these images really do. I love them. This figure always reminds me of the devil card in Tarot of the Crone that I showed. This middle figure here with that beautiful owl sitting on top. I love it. So anyway, there is something special about this deck. There's something I love about this deck. I love a lot of parts about this deck, but I'm not in love with it. It's not a partner. It's not even a mistress of mine. It's just, like I said, a tub of ice cream, 1 spoon. Some good shit happens, but we're just friends. And we always will be. So, I do. I love it, but probably always be friends with benefits. Okay. So, Candy and whoever else watches this, I love you guys. These are some, I'll look into some of the decks that I have in my collection and how they relate to my dating life. I hope to see everyone again. Much love.